The Colorado Rockies' inaugural season was truly special. Join us and our partners KWGN-TV, Denver's 2, King Soopers, and the Rocky Mountain News as we look back at the great moments from 1993, the Dream Season.
Welcome to our world. Open up your hearts, breathe it in. It's Colorado Rockies baseball. Seeing is believing. We give you the reason. We're gonna reach right for the top and give it everything we've got. And the Rockies, hey, we're hot. It's big league baseball. Wake up, this is live with a bigger slice of life. Take it in with an afternoon of baseball. Steal the base and slide with a single, we're alive. We're gonna reach right for the top and give it everything we've got. And the Rockies, hey, we're hot. It's big league baseball. You are my home, you are my home, and the Rocky Mountains make the spirit flow. The little ones grow, and the big kids know about baseball. Baseball's part of life, a field of dreams for me tonight. It's American with the Colorado Rockies.
Summers in the Mile High City will never be the same. In their first year, the Colorado Rockies drew more fans than any baseball team in the history of the game. The Rocky Mountain region had waited 30 years for Major League Baseball, and over 4 million fans were ready to root for the home team. But Chapter 1 of the Colorado Rockies story unfolds far from the cold of Denver winter, in the sunny Arizona desert. For 46 years, Tucson, Arizona had been the spring home of the Cleveland Indians. When the tribe moved to the Grapefruit League, the city embraced a new team. Extensive renovations to High Corbett Field resulted in a first-class facility for the Colorado Rockies.
We settled on Tucson after John McHale and I had flown down and visited the Phoenix area, several proposed sites to build a complex. Went down to Tucson. The people promised to build and renovate the High Corbett Field, and we just think it was a perfect scenario for our very first Major League camp.
Training camp opened with 63 players from every corner of baseball as Rockies management began the task of assembling a competitive team from scratch.
That was going to be the toughest thing for the club to do is to gel in spring training. I believe we did some of that. As the season progressed, I believe we got a little bit better. But in spring training, that was a very tough mix because guys were coming and going. You have an expansion club where guys felt like they should be starters on that particular club. We had 6-year free agents. Everybody felt like they should be one of the 25 that came back to Denver with us.
Pitching coach Larry Bernard faced the most difficult task, selecting a pitching staff from some 36 candidates, an overwhelming number.
36, no. I mean, I've been in camps with 70, and it just takes a little more time, that's all. I really believe I got enough good arms here and enough good heads to assemble a decent pitching staff.
Slowly but surely, the team began to take shape. Finally, the future began on March 6th, the first spring training game of the Colorado Rockies.
3 years, and here's the offering. And it is low for ball one.
And they took the ball, tossed it into the Rockies dugout.
Don Baylor, the manager of the Colorado Rockies.
If David Need can get out of this inning with just allowing the 1 run, this will be a good inning for him.
And the 0-2 pitch. And he strikes him out.
This is a chance for Jim Tatum.
And of course, the Denver fans remember Jim with the Zephyrs. He had 329, 19 home runs, 101 RBIs. And he has the first hit of the ball game for the Colorado Rockies. Here's the pitch to the plate. And the first baseman comes home, and he is saved. Girardi scores a run. And he drills this one down the left field line. And another run is going to score. It gets away from Bonds. 2-run space score. Here's the throw, the slide, and he is safe. And the Rockies lead it 3-1. And for Don Baylor, he's looking for his first victory, albeit spring training. He strikes him out. So for Steve Reed in the top of the ninth, 3 up and 3 down. And the Colorado Rockies defeat the San Francisco Giants by a score of 7-2.
A very special day for everybody, and everybody took it the way I thought they should take it. Very serious out here, and it showed the way we played.
The Rockies hit the ground running. They played an aggressive brand of baseball that was immediately dubbed Baylor ball. And by the end of spring, to everyone's surprise, the Colorado Rockies were the Cactus League champions. It was time to break camp. But before heading to New York for the season opener, a last-minute roster addition was made.
At 2 o'clock this morning, I signed Dale Murphy to join the ball club sometime tomorrow in time to fly into Minneapolis tonight and be in uniform, ready to play tomorrow's 1 o'clock game.
The Rockies wanted Murph for his experience and veteran leadership. But the injuries that caused the two-time MVP to miss most of the 1992 season had taken too great a toll. Dale Murphy retired from baseball on May 27.
As the New York Mets take the field.
The Big Apple was the place to be on April 5th, 1993. At 2:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, baseball history was once again made in New York City as the Colorado Rockies era officially began.
And we're set to go. Gooden delivers. Strike one. And that ball will go into the Hall of Fame.
For the Mets, it was business as usual, but the Rockies may have been a little anxious.
Got him. Bichette knew it. 2 down, 3rd strikeout for the doctor.
I was just thinking about the last time I was in that stadium. We lost Game 6 and 7 in the World Series in '86. So some good thoughts and some bad thoughts, but it was just an upbeat day.
And I think when the national anthem was played, when the first pitch was thrown, lots of things went through my mind, and the efforts and the work of so many people in trying to get this thing put together and always shooting for opening day of 1993. So it was a very special day for a lot of us.
April 5th was a memorable day at Shea Stadium. Second baseman Eric Young was the first Rockies batter ever. David Meade, who had thrown the first pitch of the first spring training game, was on the mound again. And appropriately, Andres Galarraga got the Colorado Rockies' first hit. Doc Gooden proved to be too much for the new team, though, shutting out the Rockies 3-0.
The guys are going to lose to Dwight Gooden. He was on. We had somewhat of an opportunity. Galarraga tried to stretch a single into a double, kind of ran us out of a particular game there. So that was just one of the small mistakes that you make as an expansion team. Opening day, all the excitement.
In Game 2, April 7th, the first franchise home run got the Rockies on the scoreboard for the first time. Dante Bichette took Brett Saberhagen deep over the left field fence, but that was all the offense Colorado could manage. The team left New York 0-2, but a hero's welcome awaited them in Denver. Although the Rockies opened their season 1,600 miles away, their newly minted fans were involved. Over 5,000 fans watched the games each day at Rockies Fest, in bars and offices and homes all over the region. Rockies mania had begun. April 8th was an off day, and the grand opening celebration began in earnest. First, a parade as thousands lined the streets of downtown Denver to cheer each player as he passed by. Then the fans got their first real look at the new team, and the team got its first look at its new home. Finally, it was time.
Grim Smith is on the mound. Mike Lansing will be the first batter. Here's the first pitch. And that ball will go into the Hall of Fame.
I had tremendous emotion. Goosebumps. Tremendous amount of satisfaction. A lot of pride. Really pleased for our area, and you know, I felt like at last we were big league in all respects.
A crowd of 80,227, a major league record for opening day, looked on as Bryn Smith took the mound to begin an afternoon that may never be equaled in the hearts of all Colorado Rockies fans. But the moment that brought everything together was this 3-2 pitch to the Rockies' first mile-high batter, second baseman Eric Young.
And the 3-2 pitch. Fly ball deep left field. It's mile high and out of here. One ball, two strikes, the count. Base hit, another runner's in. Rockies lead it 2-0. In the hole to right field. Young heads for third. Here's the throw. He's on third. The ball gets away. He heads for home. He sides. He scores. It's a 5-0 ball game.
The 0-1 pitch, Bichette pokes it to right field. Coming in is Alou, he makes the catch. Tagging is Young. He is going to score. To throw to third is not in time. It'll be a sacrifice fly for Dante Bichette. And now with a man on third and one out, it's Galarraga with the infield playing in. And he bangs hit left field. It is now 7-0. Galarraga pokes one past the drawn-in infield. He's not had one of those days you'd like to write home about. Benavides grounds it. It gets into left field. Clark scores. To third goes Girardi, and it's 8-0. So Benavides is on the board. 2-2 pitch. Base hit center field, and here comes Girardi. So a guy straightens you up. The best way to come back at him is single up the middle, and that's what Eric Young did.
And Boston will score. It's 10-0. Base hit down the line. And Eric Young will score. And it is 11-0. Dale Murphy, right field, retires the side. The time, 5:48 on a Friday afternoon in Denver. That one moment in time for the Colorado Rockies. Their first victory as they defeat the Montreal Expos 11-4.
It's a game you dream about, you know, and it comes once in a while and you just want to cherish it. But more importantly, you got to keep it in perspective because, you know, you have 159 more games, you know. You can't just dwell on that one game. But it's something that I look back at the end of the season and really cherish.
It was the greatest day yet in Colorado baseball history, but there would be so many more. Firsts piled up for the new franchise, including the first rainout on April 12th. One first that was eagerly awaited was the first game between the Rockies and their expansion rivals, the Florida Marlins. The two teams had followed somewhat different paths to opening day.
We knew that we wanted to do two things. One is we needed to draft in the expansion draft a ball club that we could put on the field opening day in 1993, but yet we wanted to draft young players who would be a part of this organization, be able to grow up, develop, and be a part of our future. I think the Marlins took a little bit different approach. They had different ideas as to free agents to sign, so we both came off the same page, but yet went in different directions.
Center field, Chuck Carr, it's over his head. It's going to score a run. Young rounds third. Cole has a stand-up triple. And the Rockies rule 1-0. Galarraga's at first, and Alex Cole is at third. High fly ball, deep left field. It is high and out of here. Celebration began.
Bruce Ruffin got the start, his first at Mile High Stadium, and the Rockies won that first meeting of the new teams 5-4. Unfortunately, the Marlins won the remaining two games of the series, and the experts sat back and nodded. Florida was clearly the better team. A week later, the Rockies hit the road again, this time headed for South Florida, and the rematch with the Marlins. That first game was an early turning point in Colorado's season, as rookie pitcher Armando Reynoso made his first start for the Rockies.
Right to the shortstop. Benavides steps on second for one and throws on to Galarraga for two, and that's a big ball. Chuck Carr lifts the fly ball to Benavides, who takes it, and the Rockies escape the inning after having two on, nobody out. And he strikes him out.
Don Baylor enjoying this performance by Armando Reynoso.
Oh, you know he's got to be just tickled pink calling a guy up from AAA and getting this kind of performance out of him.
And he strikes out Weiss for an exclamation point here in the seventh inning. And that's a forkball, and that's a strikeout. And here's Chuck Carr, who has made throwing a baseball exciting. Bunted, Girardi, got him. Still anxious moments for Don Baylor. Trying to pick up the Rockies' 8th win of the season. Even the series with the Marlins up. Grounded. Eric Young will take it himself, and this one is in the books. Armando Reynoso joins the Colorado Rockies in time to pick up his first victory of the season in his first start.
Armando Reynoso's performance that night, and for the rest of the season, answered any questions about whether he belonged in the big leagues. He went on to win 12 games, only one shy of the all-time expansion record. Another young arm had joined the starting rotation. The Rockies' loss to the Marlins on May 1st set up a rubber game seen by a national audience on Sunday Night Baseball. When Joe Girardi blocked the plate in this dramatic game-ending play, Colorado had tied the season series with the Marlins and won its first road series ever. From Miami, the road led on to the friendly confines of Wrigley Field.
Nice, comfortable evening.
No stadium in the National League has more baseball tradition than the home of the Chicago Cubs, but Wrigley Field can be a pitcher's nightmare. It was a rare calm evening on May 4th, and baseballs were flying everywhere.
Joe Girardi will lead it off for the Rockies, and the first pitch is stroked high to right field. Going back is Sosa, and it is gone. Joe Girardi comes back to his home ballpark and hits one out to right field. Girardi's first home run of the season. And they're trying to talk the fan into throwing it back, but maybe they don't do that when a former popular Cub hits the home run. And there it comes. Gerald Clark with another one. Now, while the Cubs fans are busy throwing them back, they're going to have to throw another one back. And there it comes again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And Charlie Hayes high and deep to left. And this baby is out of here. 4-0 Rockies lead on the 2-run home run off the bat of Charlie Hayes. And he hits this one off the end of the bat. Alex Cole broke back. Now he comes in. And he can't come up with it. The tying run scores. Here comes the lead run, and he scores. Cubs expecting a bunt. Grace and Bichelle coming in, and Girardi lined one, and it's going to fall. And here comes Galarraga, and this game is tied. Girardi is the base runner at third. At second is Vinny Castilla. And the base runner at first is Eric Young. Jim Tatum batting with the bases loaded and 2 out. And the payoff pitch. And Tatum smokes it high to left field. And this one is way out of here. A grand slam home run for Jim Tatum.
Jim Tatum's grand slam was another Colorado first, but it took the Rockies 11 innings to finally beat the Cubs 14-13 in one of the wildest games of the season. The victory also assured the team of its first winning road trip, and the Rockies returned home eagerly looking forward to their first meeting with the defending National League champions, the Atlanta Braves. The Braves feature pitching, and the Rockies saw all of it in this 4-game series. John Smoltz won the first game 13-3, but the second game started out differently.
Galarraga chops it, and it gets through. Clark scores. Here comes Hayes. He will score, and the Rockies lead 3-1.
Steve Avery was chased in the 4th inning, and Colorado had a chance to tie up the series. The effort was wasted, though, and Atlanta won 13-5.
Final tonight.
The next day, it looked again like the Braves were beaten as Bruce Ruffin pitched brilliantly into the 8th inning, and the Rockies led 6-0. This little inside-out swing by Sid Bream changed all that.
To the wall. It's a grand slam. Sid Bream has tied the game at 6-6, and a glorious inning has become a nightmare.
When it ended, the Rockies were losers again, 8-7. it was starting to look like a cloud hung over Colorado's bullpen when again on Sunday, the Rockies blew 2 leads and lost their 4th game in a row to Atlanta, 12-7. The Rockies drafted Darren Holmes to be their closer, but so far he had been ineffective. By May 6th, his ERA had ballooned to over 17, so he was sent down to Colorado Springs to try to solve his problems. Steve Reed then inherited the role, but by May 12th, he was gone too. Pitchers were called up and sent down. Starters and relievers changed places. In May and June, 21 roster moves involved the pitching staff, but there didn't seem to be an answer.
We had talked to a lot of ball clubs. The possibility of additional trades was always there, but we had drafted a lot of pitchers that we had great reports on. We just need to bring them up here, get an opportunity to look at them in major league conditions at Mile High Stadium. So we wanted to explore what we had in our farm system before we went out and wholesale started to make trades to further develop the ball club.
Slowly but surely, the situation stabilized. Colorado Springs pitching coach Frank Funk sent back a revitalized Darren Holmes, and Steve Reed rediscovered the strike zone. When Bruce Ruffin joined the bullpen full-time in August, what had once been a weakness became a weapon. From August 8th on, Holmes, Reed, and Ruffin combined for a record of 8-2 with a 2.17 ERA and 19 saves. A piece of the foundation was finally in place.
Once we solidified the bullpen where guys were confident, when they came back, Steve Reed pitched better, Holmes pitched a lot better. It was just a confident factor. And once we got that situated, we didn't lose any more games 18-2 or 18-1, so that was the end of that.
May 9th was Mother's Day, and it was the day the Rockies welcomed their 1 millionth fan to Mile High Stadium. It was only fitting that Lydia McKee, a mother of 2, was selected for the honor. No team in baseball history had reached the million mark so quickly, and more attendance records would soon fall. The other news on May 9th was not so good. First baseman Andres Galarraga tore a hamstring on this play and was forced to miss 17 games. The Big Cat was the keystone of the Rockies lineup, hitting .375 and leading the National League in runs batted in. At this point in the season, Galarraga was the Rockies' only real success story. After his injury, the team lost 12 out of 15 games before taking a series at Houston. Andres was activated May 27th, but the month of May was a month of futility for the Rockies. Returning home from a frustrating 3-10 road trip, the team was swept by the Phillies over the final weekend. The topper was an 18-1 loss on May 30th. June started off like a repeat of May as the Rockies lost 5 of their first 7 games. With a 17-41 record, Colorado was faced with the prospect of sinking slowly into the West. This team needed wins, and when they hosted the Houston Astros, the results were astonishing.
Runner is going. Caminetti. And he battles the ball. Hayes hit for home. Here's the throw. He scores. Throw to third. It's saved.
And the 2-2 pitch to Liriano. Cole going again. And this one's going to fall. And this game is tied.
Here's the offer. It could drop in, and it does. And here comes the lead run.
The Rockies won all 3 games of that Astros series. The wins gave the team's morale a much-needed boost. The sweep was perhaps the first indication that the Rockies' fortunes were starting to change.
One of my great satisfactions was the game we were down 7-0 and came back and beat the Astros. Drayton McLean, the owner of the Astros, had been sitting with me and my family and Orrin and Charlie, and he thought the game was in hand, and they went and got on their plane and went back to Houston. He then later told me, he asked his son, how did the game come out? And he said, well, the Rockies won. And I think from that day on, we owned the Astros the rest of the season. And that was a big point of turning for us and continuing to play better right on through to the All-Star game.
The Rockies won 8 of the 12 games for their first winning homestand. There were milestones at the gate as well. On June 14th, Rockies fans broke the all-time attendance record for an expansion team. June 20th was Father's Day, and Ralph McRae, a father of twins, was selected as the 2 millionth fan. The region's tremendous fan support was already becoming a baseball legend. Another road trip followed, and only a brilliant performance by Armando Reynoso against San Francisco kept it from being a disaster. Twice Armando had faced the Giants with the same result: 8 strikeouts and a complete game victory. On to Atlanta, and another sweep by the Braves. Even Reynoso couldn't stop them. Still, there were signs of life in June, and one big highlight. Andres Galarraga was named National League Player of the Month. After being reactivated on May 27th, the Big Cat went on a tear. He hit .420 with 16 extra base hits and 21 RBIs, and raised his overall average to .404. Galarraga's incredible comeback would continue. July started out with a bang for the Rockies. July 3rd was fireworks night. Chicago was in town for a 4-game set, and after winning the previous game 11-8, the Cubs seemed to be in command with a 4-2 lead in the bottom of the 9th inning. Then lightning struck.
They're waving the runner home. The throw comes to third. It's a 4-3 ball game with runners in the corners. Charlie Hayes. Schaefer is 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter. We've got a tie ball game. This is over the head of Schultz. He can't get there. The Rockies roll.
After splitting the series with Chicago, the Rockies once again hosted the Florida Marlins. The Rockies' problems in May had seemed to increase the gap between the two expansion teams, although each team had won 3 games against the other. The Marlins had recently traded for 1992 National League batting champion Gary Sheffield and seemed to be headed quickly for respectability. But the Rockies were gaining confidence every day and swept the 3-game series from Florida. Marlins closer Brian Harvey was one of the victims, as Colorado was developing a reputation for late wins against the premier closers in the National League.
Cross, offline, Young scores, and the Rockies have won it on an infield hit by Chris Jones.
It took the Rockies only 2 days to find their next victim. Cardinals pitcher Lee Smith owns more saves than any reliever in Major League history. But what Smith thought would be his 31st save of the season turned into another dramatic Rockies win.
It's a base hit. It'll go for at least 2 as it goes to the wall as Jordan could not come up with it. And this one is high, and it is deep, and it is mile high and out of here, and we are tied, and Chris Jones is limping. Did he pull a hamstring when he hit it?
I think he did.
But he will limp around with the ball game tied at 4. And this is high, and it is deep, and it is out of here for a mile-high second home run. And the Colorado Rockies have taken the lead over the St. Louis Cardinals off of Lee Smith here in the top of the 9th.
Now if you're playing the outfield, Charlie, you have to move back a little bit. You cannot, if you can, keep that ball from getting in between you and to the wall.
And it is line to Charlie Hayes, and that's the ball game.
Colorado cruised into the All-Star break on a 7-2 roll. Andres Galarraga represented the team in Baltimore, while everyone else took 3 days off. Over the All-Star break and throughout the season, many of the Rockies used their off time to give something back to the community. During the season, Don Baylor and some players were teaching at this Denver school.
This is fun, going back to schools, and I know it was fun when I saw some guys come back to our schools and talk to us.
We got to meet Don Baylor, and he showed us how to stand and how to hold the bat.
Rockies' wives went to bat for charity too. They were in charge of this Wild West hoedown to benefit the Leukemia Society.
We did a thing earlier in the year with the Kemp Foundation, the Christmas at the ballpark, working with the kids, and that was really neat too, because kids are really important to us.
A number of Rockies players paid visits to kids at Children's Hospital.
Kim and I are going to be probably much more involved with Children's Hospital because we really believe those kids need something to cheer them up and to get them going.
Don Baylor cheered up kids battling cancer at the Ronald McDonald House.
Kids are very important to me. They're very important to our sport. I feel like we should give a lot back to the community, and we do it through kids.
Rockies players Eric Young, Andres Galarraga, Charlie Hayes, Joe Girardi, and David Meade were guests at a party for the National Childhood Cancer Foundation. Besides donating time, players also donated tickets. Charlie Hayes and Dante Bichette purchased 10,000 tickets to give back to the fans in the Colorado Rockies community. Pretty nice way to build a cheering section. Things started slowly after the All-Star break. The Rockies were swept in a 4-game series in Chicago.
And the pitch. Ground ball. Freddie Benavides, Mejia, and it is a double play.
The cat stretched to the max.
They won one game in Florida to clinch that season series and the coveted Surf and Turf Award. But the momentum they had built up going into the All-Star break was gone. Returning to Denver, Colorado opened the homestand with a 4-game series against St. Louis and split the first 2 games. On Saturday, July 24th, the team won, but Andres Galarraga injured his knee chasing after a foul ball. He would not play for the next 23 games. The Rockies would not win again for 2 weeks.
As a player, you play through those things and you hope somebody gets a base hit. But when you're a manager and see those things unfold in front of you, it's almost like you're helpless because you can't really do anything.
Swept at home again by the Braves. Swept by the Giants. Back to Cincinnati and swept again there. Then on to San Diego and swept in a doubleheader on August 6th. 13 straight losses. The worst losing streak in the majors this season.
Here comes Clayton, and here comes the throw by Young. It is offline. Runner scores.
Nothing worked. Leads were squandered. And even 2 major events in Rockies history couldn't shake the team out of the doldrums.
The Colorado Rockies have traded minor league catcher Brad Osmus, minor league pitcher Doug Bachler, and a minor league player to be named later to the Padres for left-hander Bruce Hurst and right-handed pitcher Greg Harris.
The Rockies had made their first blockbuster trade, getting Greg Harris and Bruce Hurst from the San Diego Padres. Hurst was injured, but Harris was expected to help right away.
Manwaring hits this one well to left field. Is it back? It is gone.
He didn't.
Manwaring, and it's
Greg Harris recorded only 1 win for the Rockies, and the hopes of management and fans for a pitching boost faded. Bruce Hurst tried twice to come back from his injury, but in each start his shoulder stiffened up early. He made only 3 starts and pitched a total of 8 2/3 innings.
The Harris and Hurst trade was a big trade for us. It was a chance to improve our team, but most of all, it was really a way that we could show the fans that we were serious about building a team that could win and reward our fans for all the tremendous support that they'd given us throughout the season to that point, and frankly, as they continued to do so.
The other big event was passing the 3 million mark at Mile High Stadium. Despite the losses, fan support never wavered, and several attendance records were broken during the team's slump. The record for a 4-game series set earlier in the season was shattered again. The largest crowd ever to watch a National League night game saw the Giants defeat the Rockies on July 31st. And the 3 million mark was reached more quickly than ever before. Fan support was one thing. What this team needed was some wins. After the doubleheader loss, the Rockies had a rare Saturday off in San Diego to reflect. It was time to decide. Could this season be salvaged?
I was somewhat relieved because we did have an off day. We had about a 10, 15-minute meeting, and my discussion and topic, we can continue this losing streak, get into the history books with Montreal Expos, 23 losses in a row, or we can do something about it. Because there's going to be other major league teams who know that they're eliminated from a race. Because other people, they had us eliminated opening day.
Clark. Schaefer with a base hit to left field. Here comes Charlie Hayes. They're going to send him. Here comes the throw, and he is in there, and the Rockies take the lead.
And finally, a different result. The losing streak was broken. Life was good again.
RBI fly ball left field. Castillo with the 2 RBIs, and Darryl Boston gloved it. And the losing streak is over, and the celebration will begin and continue on the bus ride this afternoon to Los Angeles.
The Rockies headed up the coast to Dodger Stadium, where they had lost all 3 games in May. This time, they didn't lose at all.
1-2 pitch to Castellano is hit high down the line to left field. Going back is Davis. He's at the wall, and this game is tied.
And he strikes him out.
And the pitch. And Dante grounds it to Offerman. Backs up, juggles it. Reed is only going to be able to get the man at second. The run scores, and the Rockies take the lead.
Comebacker. Holmes has it. Throws to first. Rockies rule 3-2. That is 2 in a row for the first time in a month.
It was the first time ever an expansion club had swept a 4-game series in an established team's park. Suddenly, the Rockies had won 5 in a row, and the losing streak was fading from memory.
And the Rockies win it 4-2. That is 3 in a row on the road. And how long ago that 13-game losing streak seems right now.
Returning to Houston, the Rockies met what had become their favorite opponent on Friday the 13th. No triskaidekaphobia here, as number 13 Charlie Hayes provided the dramatics to extend the winning streak to 6.
A 3-run home run for Charlie Hayes, and the Rockies take the lead.
Although the streak ended the next day, Colorado finished the road trip with one more win. Something about the Colorado Rockies had changed, and the season had taken a new and better direction. Even a couple of losses to the Phillies didn't dent the Rockies' confidence. Everyone had a chance to be the hero, and players like Freddie Benavidez took advantage.
Mason looks back to second. Here's the pitch on the way. A high drive, deep left field, and you can kiss it goodbye. A 3-run home run by Freddie Benavidez.
An odd injury occurred on August 18th when a line drive broke Bruce Ruffin's toe. Now, a similar injury changed the delivery of Hall of Famer Dizzy Dean and destroyed his effectiveness. But in this case, the opposite occurred. Bruce Ruffin was unhittable for 10 innings over his next 6 appearances. Over the remaining 6.5 weeks of the season, Ruffin had an ERA of 1.25 and 43 strikeouts in 22 games. The Rockies were setting up for the best finish ever by an expansion team. Their record for August was 14-60, but that included losses in the first 7 games of the month during that unfortunate losing streak. There were some bumps along the way, of course. Montreal came to town and swept the 3-game series. Then the Expos did it again the following week au Stade Olympique. But sweep was no longer a completely dirty word for the Rockies. The Mets, Pirates, and Astros were all sent home from Mile High Stadium with nothing to show for their visits. All told, the Rockies won 9 of their 16 remaining series after August 7th and tied 2 more. The turnaround was the talk of baseball.
The other owners were saying, now you're understanding what it's like to win and enjoy it, because it'll flip the other way too before it's over.
Don and his staff stayed on the players, and they continued to work hard, to play hard, and I think a lot of things started to gel.
The last homestand of the season featured the best performance of the year by the Rockies, but it got off to a very strange start. A late summer snowstorm canceled the opening game, forcing a doubleheader the next day. The warmer weather brought a hot performance from Bruce Ruffin, 9 strikeouts in only 4 innings pitched. The Houston Astros were in town, and the Rockies completed the season series with another sweep. Colorado's 11-2 record against the Astros was the best winning percentage ever by an expansion team against an established team.
We knew we could beat that ball club. So that was a confidence factor, as you hope you had that type of situation early in the season, but it takes a while. That's why you play 162 games. You know, you learn certain things about pitching, you learn certain things about hitting that we really didn't know because we, like I said, we didn't have a history. Now we kind of have a history of what we can do, and players had that confidence that no matter what the score was, even in a game where Draybeck was leading 8-0, and we won that ball game 14-8.
The Dodgers were next, but an event off the field nearly eclipsed the game itself. September 17th was the night that the Rockies fans smashed the all-time Major League attendance record. The 4 million mark was passed when the gates opened, but later that evening, around 6,
Hi, how are you? You're our Major League record-breaking fan. All time. Congratulations. What's your name? Tammy.
it was a stunning vindication of the 30-year quest for baseball in the Rocky Mountain region. The players responded with a tribute of their own, demolishing the Dodgers 12-3 to the delight of the delirious crowd.
And this is deep left field. Ashley looks at it. It is off of the wall. 2 runs are going to score. And the hitter is Charlie Hayes, and this one is mile high and out of here.
Tool pitch to Clark. He hits it high. He hits it to left. Ashley is at the wall and is gone.
3-2 pitch with the runners going. And Mejia scoops it up. He goes to Tatum, and that's the ball game.
Finally, 4,483,350 fans later, the last home game was played at Mile High Stadium, and 70,069 came to say goodbye. They were treated to a performance that eerily echoed opening day. The Rockies pounded the Cincinnati Reds 12-7, but it was deja vu for Eric Young. EY's first home run had electrified the crowd on opening day at Mile High. On September 26th, Eric Young hit his second home run, and then he hit his third.
Back he comes. Here's a high fly ball hit down the left field line. If it stays fair, got a chance to go. Eric Young has done it! A home run! He said he was going to hit a home run today, and he did it. He waited for the opener on April the 9th to hit it out, and he did it today. And how about that, baseball fans? 2-2 pitch. There's a drive. That ball's going deep left field. It ain't coming back. Another home run for Eric Young. Wow. A 9-5 ball game. Young has hit 2 home runs today.
After the game, the Rockies circled the field, thanking their incredibly loyal fans, and everyone knew something special had happened here at Mile High Stadium.
You know, guys had tears in their eyes, and those things just don't happen. I mean, when you have an expansion team, you know, those are unheard of things. You know, a love for a club, and that particular club was a love club.
A special day. I know the players wanted to win, the staff, we all wanted to win an awful lot and give our home fans, 4.4 million plus fans, something to think about over the winter. So it was a special win for us.
To have that kind of support at the end of the season, that told me that we'd done our job. We'd got there, we'd accomplished it. The community had embraced us, and watching our players and Don Baylor, Gebb, everybody and how they related to the fans, it was special.
With a week left in the season, the Rockies found themselves right in the middle of baseball's tightest pennant race. They split a pair in San Francisco and then headed to Atlanta. The Braves and the Giants were now tied, and Atlanta could not afford to lose. They didn't. The Braves won all 3 games and their 3rd National League Western Division title. It ended on that somber note, but 1993 had turned into an outstanding season for the Colorado Rockies. Their 17-9 record in September was the first winning record ever by an expansion team in that month. Their 67 wins were the most ever by a National League expansion club. After a modest start, this team had finished brilliantly. On October 6th, Andres Galarraga had arthroscopic surgery on his troublesome right knee. Playing with a cumbersome brace, he had still managed in September to win his 2nd Player of the Month award. But he will be remembered forever by Rockies fans for the greatest individual achievement of this remarkable season. Andres Galarraga was the first member of an expansion team ever to win a batting championship. One of the Rockies' earliest trades was for outfielder Dante Bichette. Patrolling Mile High Stadium's vast right field, Dante developed quite a following among the fans in the south stands. He earned it too. A .310 average, 93 runs scored, 167 hits, and 89 RBIs were all career highs. He was 3rd in the league in doubles with 43 and tied for 3rd with 14 outfield assists. In all, it was a brilliant year for the Rockies' right fielder.
The pitch to Hayes.
Colorado was the 4th stop in the brief major league career of Charlie Hayes. When the Yankees left him unprotected, the Rockies made him their 2nd pick in the expansion draft. New York signed free agent Wade Boggs to replace Charlie at the hot corner. But a funny thing happened. Charlie had a better year. Charlie Hayes had found a home with the Colorado Rockies. And finally, we bring you the story of David Need, the Rockies' first pick in the expansion draft, and the starting pitcher back on opening day. David's season had almost as many ups and downs as the team's. After losing the opener, he won 3 in a row. Then, decreasing effectiveness and lack of offensive support both contributed to a 6-game losing streak. On June 3rd, while pitching in an exhibition game in Colorado Springs, he suffered a torn ligament in his elbow.
You know, I don't know the exact dates or the exact plan on when I'll be back, but, you know, I'm not looking at very far away from my thinking. I hope they're thinking the same thing.
After 91 days of rest and 4 rehab starts, David Need was back. He capped his comeback by beating the Dodgers on September 17th. The same night, all the attendance records fell for his first win since April 21st. Another circle was complete. There is never another first time. There will never be another first season. 1993 is only a moment in time in baseball. But for these players, for these fans, the memories will last forever. It was a dream season for the Colorado Rockies. And as long as baseball is played in the Rocky Mountains, that dream will live on.
And you bring your glove, 'cause you just never know. Now there's baseball for all in Colorado.
We hope you enjoyed these special moments from our inaugural season. Please join the Colorado Rockies, KWGN-TV Denver's 2, King Soopers, and the Rocky Mountain News for more great Rockies baseball in 1994.